Today, my friends, we have for you a Town Hall 12 guide to Pekka Bobat. This is going to be your definitive guide to learning how you guys can use this, from base identification to how to use your bat spells. So that's right, guys, we're going to be going over Pekka Bobat at Town Hall 12. So this strategy, as far as I know, bat spell strategies are still very powerful right now in the meta at Town Hall 12. I mean, right now, because Town Hall 12 and even Town Hall 13 are so geared on defending against things like Yetis and Hybrid, more specifically Hybrid, you know, you're leaving yourself open to other strategies, more specifically something like this. Even with a Ground Expo, even with a single Inferno like you see right here, this strategy can still dominate bases. So, what are you looking for? Well, think of this like Town Hall 11. You know, nothing really has changed other than the third Inferno and the Town Hall. So what you're looking for is you're looking for three things. You're looking for the Town Hall. You're looking for as much splash as possible. If you can get a multi-Inferno, that's really good. But you're looking for things like Wizard Towers and also the Infernos. And then you also want to try and get the Eagle. So those are going to be your things to look for. So right here you can see like the things that you would be trying to get. You're trying to get it's things like an Inferno maybe. You want to try and get a Wizard Tower, maybe an Eagle, and you also want to get the Town Hall. Because if you can't get rid of the Town Hall, then you might be at a disadvantage. You may only get a 1-star. So what you're going to see in terms of the CC is a little bit different. Typically, in terms of these type of strategies, you're used to seeing a Pekka and an Ice Golem, or a Pekka and then like a Balloon, or something like that. Here, we're going to see Yetis. Yetis are actually extremely good in the Wall Wrecker, so definitely something to try out. I've seen one person on my Discord that did actually do a 3-star at 13v13 with a Wall Wrecker and Yetis, so definitely interesting to try out. So, with that out of the way, the biggest thing that what we're going to be seeing here is, of course, we're going to be creating the funnel. That's almost step 1 of this strategy, creating a funnel. Step 2, you're going to be sending everything into the base. In terms of this, you may be wondering, what about the single Inferno? How are we going to deal with that? Well, it's very, very simple. You're just going to use your Warden ability, and you'll see that in this example. As you go through, after you take out a good chunk of the base, then you could just drop in your bats, and you can start bat waving. That is really how simple this strategy is. Don't get me wrong. It is a very, very simple strategy. So I don't want to talk too long with the whole strategy and sort of everything. So I don't want to try and go off topic or anything as well. So what are we seeing right here? So I know a lot of you guys have been asking for a Warden guide, or, you know, a Warden walk guide. I can't really do a Warden walk guide because solely that would be very short. So I want to try and make sure that I'm doing a Warden guide. This kind of helps you guys who are at Town Hall 11, 12, and 13 to understand the Warden AI, because sometimes it can be really wonky, and definitely learning how to use a Warden walk and stuff like that. So you'll see from either side here is that we're creating a funnel. One side with the Warden, one side with the King. So once that has happened, we're dropping in an Ice Golem along with a couple Pekkas in order to create this funnel. Then right behind them, we have Bowlers. So the Bowlers there are going to basically support everything going in, along with the Queen. So you'll see from here is that we're going to pop the ability of the Grand Warden in order to make sure that everything is going through, staying protected, and on top of that, making sure that the Wall Wrecker is basically going to get through the base. So you want to make sure that you're popping it early, more especially against a single Inferno. So with that being said, you guys can see that the stones or the Wall Wrecker here is going to make its way all the way into the air sweeper compartment, but it will be taken down. But as you can see, as everything was going through, the Pekkas are getting so much value. They got rid of a couple Wizard Towers. They got rid of the Eagle. They're going to get rid of the multi-Inferno. They're going to get rid of the Town Hall, like you see right here. Because we have Yetis here, the Yeti Mites are actually going to do some work to that Town Hall, even though it is very little damage, because remember, it is only by half. So it's not, you know, 4 times, it's only 2 times. So you'll see right here is that basically everything is going to be, all those Yetis are going to basically be used. Now, this is what is called a bat wave. A bat wave in this case is basically using the bats on the outskirt of the base and letting them drive in. So we're going to be dropping in a freeze spell right on top of these two buildings, the Inferno and also the Wizard Tower. As long as we can tell that the Wizard Tower and the Multi-Inferno are right by each other, we can freeze those two buildings together. So that is really, really important there. So as you'll see from here is that we have multiple freeze spells, so we can keep all of those defenses frozen for basically for a long time. So we definitely want to make sure that we are getting our bats to take down the splash, and then any other defenses is definitely going to be free, for the taking. Now you'll see from here, we don't have any more free spells to deal with this Wizard Tower. So after the bats go over to the Wizard Tower, it will be taken down, and we don't really have anything else left except for the Queen. Other than that, it's still a very simple attack strategy. So with that being said, that gives you guys your first example using this strategy. It's not as difficult as you may think, and it's really, really simple to start using. So I would say that if you are at a Town Hall 12 and you are looking for something that isn't hybrid, you're looking for something that's actually working very well that isn't one of those, then this is going to be the strategy for you. Let's move on into our next example using this strategy. So we've got another base design here, very similar. Again, we're seeing one single. So we're seeing how to charge into the base when there is a single. So you can actually really apply this to bases that are triple single. Now you may be asking, what about island bases? Does this work against island bases? I'm going to say most of the time, yeah. Especially with how Splash is being placed all around the base. You just have to look for the Town Hall, which if it's in the center, then usually you're going to get a lot of value, and you don't really need to go too far. In this case, do you think that the Wall Wrecker is going to make it all the way until this compartment right here? So we'll find out, we'll see, but let me know in the comments below, do you think that the Wall Wrecker is going to make it there? Would be interesting to see your guys' responses in the comments. So, what we're going to see is, of course, we are going to be creating a funnel. So we're going to be creating a funnel this way here, and then we're going to create another one this way. So you may be wondering, so we're going straight into the single Inferno, but why? Well, take a look at all the value that we can get from these compartments here. And there's one specific thing that we're looking for, Wizard Towers. There are 3 Wizard Towers that we can easily get by just charging into this area. That really allows us to get rid of the Eagle, allows us to deal with the CC. There's a lot of really good things that we can do from that section. So what about the Ice Golem? You saw an Ice Golem last time as well in the previous example. So the Ice Golem's job usually is going to be being used as a tank. This is very good when you're dealing with things like a single Inferno. And for those of you who are at Town Hall 11, definitely take this away. I mean, you guys have access to the Ice Golem. Use it. I mean, if you are going against and charging into single Infernos, it would be actually not a bad idea to maybe even use an Ice Golem to tank for the Wall Wrecker first. It costs 15 housing space, but at least it lets you get more value. So you'll see that as we're popping the Warden, just notice how much health this Wall Wrecker actually has. And just notice how it gets through the base. Now you may notice as well is that there's a lot of Lava Hound CCs going around. Just know that this does still work against damage CCs. So you'll see that that Wall Wrecker is barely staying alive until that last compartment. So it really made, that was a crazy moment, because when I saw this, I was like, wow. But you'll see from here, we've got more Yetis, the same CC that we had before. We're using those Yetis, and we're easily going to take care of the Town Hall. Now, with that being said, what is left? We still have a Tesla farm, which could always be very terrible for our bats, but we also have both multi-infernos. So how are we going to deal with something like this? Well, whoops. What we're going to be seeing is we're going to be dropping in our bats. We are going to be using our free spells once they get into a closer range of the multi-inferno. So as the queen takes out the other one, we're making sure that we're using our free spells over the multi-inferno in order to keep them alive. Even if some of them get taken out, as long as it's low on health, you should be able to get through it. And this is a great example of how everything died out except for the bats. And usually bats are probably some of the worst cleanup troops in terms of storages. It takes them a while to get through it because they do more damage to defensive buildings. But you can definitely tell from here is that they can still really work very well here at Tunnel 12. So you guys can see, even though the entire attack thinned out, you definitely want to rely on your bat placement in order to get that entire thing right. So that means that what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are using your... You want to make sure that you're actually using your bat spells and paying attention with your free spells so you don't miss anything. Other than that, you may fail. So, with that being said, let's move on into our third example. So we've got another example here, and the big thing here, and actually there's one thing I wanted to mention from the previous example. You may have noticed that there was a wall break after the wall wrecker popped. Well, there was actually wall breakers in that CC. So something a little bit different. I don't typically see people donating wall breakers, but it looks like it was pretty good, and it definitely allowed him to actually get that town hall down. So by looking at this base here, where would the best area to enter be? Well, if we take a look at it, again, this base doesn't have any single inferno, so we don't need to worry about bringing an ice golem, but that means that we can actually go into from the base like this. Now, the CC is not going to be, well, it is going to be lurable if we drop in something like a hog rider. Actually, it won't after taking a look at this, but you can definitely tell still that you want to hit from the opposite side. Most likely, there is a lava hound in this enemy CC, meaning that what we want to do is we want to hit from the opposite direction. Typically, this is done using 5 bat spells. I mean, this strategy is still very strong. Unlike the previous example, we're seeing another Warden Walk, so we're seeing it very similar like the first one. We're using a Warden Walk, we're making sure that we're walking our Warden towards the right area. Now, this could also mean, you know, going into the dual multi-infernos. That could get us a lot of good value, but we still want to get the eagle, and that's a really, really important structure to take out when we're doing a Pekka Bobat. So that means that we are going to spend some time just working our way over and just clearing out the buildings in order to create a funnel. So we're going to be using that Warden right there because there were no defenses protecting it, at least not many. And another thing is that there was very little to, if no storage is there, meaning that that means that the Warden can actually clear up a multi-inferno very quickly. So notice how we're not dropping in everything just yet. Once, or I guess never mind, the Warden was kind of supposed to move in, but because he was kind of crunched on time a little bit, he will be able to make his way in. He will still be able to deal with that multi-inferno tower though. So you see, as everything's rolling in, notice how we're not going to be able to get over to the eagle. So we are going to have to break down some walls to get to it. But you also may notice that, you know, the wall wrecker popped really early. So how are we going to get through something like this? Well, notice how we're just breaking through walls. Yetis, the Pekkas, the bowlers, all of them combined are doing a ton of damage. Notice how we don't even have a poison spell. So we're not going to be able to really get through that entire section. But also notice how we have so many Pekkas still alive right behind them. And that queen is just able to sort of clear everything up. Very, very simple. Now you'll see that we're, instead of using a wave, we're using a bat bomb. So you'll see here is that we're dropping in the freeze, and then we're dropping in the bat spells, and those are going to be able to take out defenses right in the base. So because there was no need to bat wave, it was so much better just to bat bomb. Now we can see a tornado trap did catch some of the bats, but it didn't kill them instantly. So that is really, really good to know, but just remember that if you trigger any air targeting, or, you know, if you hit any trap that can be targeted, that can target air and ground or just air, like the red air bombs and the tornado trap, those are going to be the most effective at killing bats. So make sure that you are not putting a air unit by those by the bats, basically. So don't have your healers by the bats. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on into our final example using this strategy. So we've got our last example, and what you can see from here is that we are going to be bringing in the jump spell. You may notice again, we're not bringing in a poison. A lot of these CCs have been Lava Hound. I'm sorry for that. It looks like the defensive meta in terms of CCs at Tunnel 12 is Lava Hound and Baby Dragon, so maybe take some advice from that. But still, even with this strategy, it can still wreck most types of CCs, if not all of them, so it's definitely very good. The only reason people like to use Lava Hound is to slow down basically any sort of kill squad moving in, or even a queen charge. So those are always going to be the big things. But as from this base here, the big thing I want you guys to understand is, again, remember that we want to create the funnel. That is always going to be number one. But the other thing is, we want to make sure that we are also taking care of infernos, but we're also taking care of things like the enemy CC, the Eagle, and the Town Hall. So you'll see from here is that we have a lot going on. So we have a funnel we have like, the E-Drag up top. What are we doing? So this is going to be something a little bit different. So instead of actually attacking from an opposite side like you usually do, you'll see instead what we're doing is we're creating a funnel on this side here. And what this is going to allow us to do, so we're going to leave our king to basically create a funnel. Notice how our Warden Walk is basically going through. But instead of actually sending everything in, we're going to drop in the wall wrecker right here. We're going to make a beeline right to the Town Hall. So you may think, wait, but where's the value in that? But that is why we're bringing in a jump spell. The main reason is, would you really want to go into an area of 3 multi-infernos, or would you rather go into the area of the Town Hall, rage up everything as they move through, and then pop your Grand Warden's ability, get through the Town Hall, and use a jump spell to get through the rest of it? That is going to be the question that you have to ask yourself if you want to do that. So there's just a lot of different things that you would really want to sort of think about in terms of this. So like you'll see from here is that the jump spell now opens us up to all of the multi-infernos. This is where you can get a lot of really good value. So now here is where we drop in our Ice Golem. Now we haven't seen this, so an Ice Golem being dropped in range of the Wizard Tower is extremely important. Typically though, when defenders do this, they are making sure that you can't really place an Ice Golem there, but you have to angle it just right in order to make sure that your Ice Golem goes in the range of that Wizard Tower in order to tank for the bats. And then you can just really clear up and go through it. And you notice that in all of these examples, you always saw Yetis being used in the CC. That means that if you're interested in ever using something a little bit different in terms of, the typical Pekka, then definitely use Yetis. I would highly recommend using Yetis. It is really good in the CC. I mean, Yeti Bomb is definitely still very good, and I would definitely also have to say this, but if you're using something like a Wall Wrecker with Yetis, it's just as well. I mean, Yetis with almost any attack can really do very well. So, with that being said, guys, and there's an example of a red air bomb. Look at that go. It is going to take out the bats. Boom. Oh, well, it would have gone down if it didn't run out of time, but just know, though, that when you're dealing with something like red air bombs, your bats are going to get taken out. So make sure that there's not a balloon or healer that's near it. So with that being said, guys, that is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss anything, and to join the Corrupt fam. Also, if you guys want to support me further, feel free to go ahead and, subscribe to me over on Twitch. Feel free to also go ahead and, maybe even become a channel member. And also, don't forget that I also have merch. Feel free to go ahead and check that out. There is a link to my Playmaker store in the description. But with that being said as well, feel free to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, don't forget to follow me over on madcat.tv. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description. That is another place that we're going to be streaming along with Twitch in the coming, actually in next month. So starting soon, we're going to be doing we're going to be multi-streaming on both platforms. Another thing, feel free to join any of the clans I cover within this game of Clash of Clans. All their discords are in the description of this video, and hopefully you guys can find the right clan to join in league play. But that being said, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.